Hey everyone, the lighting collector here, and what you're looking at is a neat European-made Lampi fixture. I think they called this the Lunar Lampi, if I remember. I have the box somewhere, I just can't remember where it is. But I've got the box somewhere. For a while, probably 10, 15 years of the end of the run of Lampi's production, they made stuff in Germany and at one point West Germany when Wall was still around. And they also still made stuff in the United States, but they changed production on a lot of fixtures to Europe for whatever reason, as their earlier stuff was of course made right here at home in Alabama. I don't live in Alabama, but in the United States, in the state of Alabama. And this is one of their later products. I want to say this is probably 90s, 2000s. And I got this off eBay. It's quite a few different Lampi stuff that I've found on eBay over the years. I'm sure there's still stuff like that. I haven't looked in a while. But for a while I had this on the top of the counter, on the top of the cabinets in my kitchen, so it is a smidge greasy. But I took it down because I didn't like how high it sat. You could see the tube too much. And I swapped it out with a regular strip light. And I figured while it's down here before I move, I'd make a video of this. And the lamp that it came with, which I do need to make a video of, it's still in use right now, and I didn't feel like getting it down to make a video. So I'm just gonna use this Philips cool white lamp for the sake of this video, and eventually I will make a individual video on just the bulb. So as you can see, this is intended to be an outdoor fixture. It has these interesting, very European gasketed socket covers that screw on. You put them on the tube and you screw it on. It also keeps the tube from falling out. And of course, the entire construction of this is very, very, very foreign. So I'll go ahead and take this apart. And it just comes apart with these two little well, I guess they're screws technically. Well, more like circular nuts, I guess. I don't know what to call them. Don't know, don't care. So you take those off, and the bottom part is what stays and mounts to everything, and the rest of it just comes off like that. As you can see, it is gasketed for outdoor use. And it has a very interesting ballast, as you can see. So it's made in West Germany, which of course is just like, you know, the part in the West, obviously, but the part that was not communist during the, I can't remember exactly the years, but anyways, you get my point. So it was made in that area, and it has a European Sylvania starter. Weird starter socket placement. It's not secured at all. And a German-made, but for American specifications, choke ballast here. With the terminal block on the end, like all the German fluorescent ballasts have. May and Christie, and then it shows the, look at that. It's so cool. I have a couple of their fixtures that are made in this era that have that style of ballast. This is not the only one. So, very neat stuff. I would love to find more of these. This is the only one I've ever seen on eBay. And yeah, it's kind of cool. It was advertised, at least on the box, as being an outdoor fixture. And I've never used that. Obviously, I've never used it for that, but it was intended for that purpose. And I don't know how well these sold. I've never really seen them, so probably not that well. I think during this time when Lampi went European, they started to decline in sales, it seems. I don't know exactly what happened to the company, why it died off and all that stuff, but it's different. Their fixtures were always, oh, well, geez, this lamp is a bad one to use. I didn't realize it had that dent in it. Okay, let me get another one. Whoopsies. But yeah, it's interesting to see something like this made for the American market. And it came with a Sylvania lifeline tube made in West Germany as well. And so you can see how the little gray part is actually what moves on the socket and locks it into place, and then you just screw this on, and then it gives a gasketed seal. It's neat. I mean, it does look kind of goofy, especially with these on it, but it's a cool fixture, and I would like to use it somewhere where you can actually see it because it's kind of cool. The fashion that I was using it in, it was meant to be more of a concealed fixture anyways, and it wasn't because it is a taller fixture than your normal strip light due to the really large end caps it has. So here's the moment we've all been waiting for here. The preheat action. It's not particularly blinky, but it is still preheat, so. And it's a pretty quiet fixture as well. It doesn't really hum, which is nice. I do think that these ballasts are 100% better made than what we have for this wattage, because I don't have any preheat chokes that are this quiet that I can think of. Only my potted ballasts are. And it's nice that this is still a slim ballast. That's what's interesting about the European stuff, is that the American 20 watt ballast is physically too wide for this fixture. I will show you. It is the same width as the fixture. This is a 15-20 watt choke here, 14 actually. And if you can see on the end there, it is literally the same width as the entire fixture. So they did manage to, instead of having it this way, they just stretch it out, making it fit in slimmer profile stuff like this, which I find pretty neat. And we'll just see how efficient it is. It draws 0.36 of an amp, 28.5 watt. And it has a power factor of 0.63, which is expected considering it's a choke coil type ballast and nothing with a capacitor. But in Europe, a lot of times they would have this style ballast, and then they would have a capacitor externally mounted in the fixture, separate from the ballast, but wired with the ballast. That's how we do our HID ballast here in America. But there, they would do their fluorescent ballast the same way. But here, anything that requires a ballast in the United States, for fluorescent anyways, okay, anything that requires a capacitor, I should have said, is always included in the ballast casing, which kind of sucks because when your capacitor goes out, which is normally the reason a ballast fails, by the way, in those scenarios, you can't replace it without getting a nasty mess. So in that respect, I think that the Europeans did it better, but I still like what we have quite a bit, as it's what I'm used to. And I will say our designs of most of our fixtures are better. It would be cool if they mixed American designs with like the European style ballasting hardware. I think that would be a really good combination. Because as interesting as this is, I gotta be honest, this is not an attractive fixture in any way, shape, or form. And maybe it's because it's foreign, perhaps, but I also think this would look better in a T8, because the T12 is nearly the width of the entire fixture, and that just looks really goofy. And then the lamp holders are wider than the fixture. I don't know, I don't really like that. But it's different and cool, and that's why I got it, and it was cheap on eBay back before things got way more expensive for some reason. So yeah, I thought I'd finally make a video of this. I've had this for 5 years or more now. I just haven't had a chance to really make a video of it, or haven't thought of it, whatever the case may have been. I can't really remember, but yeah, I'm glad I'm getting a video made now because this is really neat, and I don't think anybody else has one of these things that I'm aware of. So it's definitely worth filming for that reason alone. But I also just want to get as much content out there and finally take care of this YouTube channel, as I've kind of neglected it quite a bit. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you again for watching. More to come later.